when are calls for genocide okay? Well, it turns out they're contextual if you work on an Ivy League campus, such as Harvard or Penn State or MIT or something like that. Now, I would have thought there would have been an always no. That would have been a never event.
Yes.
You're never supposed to call for genocide. But it turns out that if you're politically on the right side of the argument, then actually you get a lot of tolerance there.
Seems to be the case.
Isn't
It is.
They use the word targeted.
They do.
Yes.
It's very, it's very legalese about
it.
It
Is. Yeah. It's a bit like I did not have sex with that woman.
Yeah.
The Clinton Get Out.
It is. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and I watched it. What I think anti-Semitism goes way deeper than we think, particularly on the left. And I think that the whole it's like the Owen Jones thing, which is a reluctance to admit that Hamas have been really pretty horrible.
Yeah, there's a weird amount of Hamas defense.
It's the Hamas defense. It's like, well, you can't blame them really.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of that thing. So I think what we're seeing is the reveal. I think a lot of these people have been anti-Semitic, soft or wholehearted.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that Penn State thing was really instructive. And also when the question was posed, the woman's face,
she was laughing.
But blank. It was like, what do I say? How do I get out of this? What are they? They're asking.
Well, one of them was great. We'll get into it actually. We'll watch a bit of it in a minute. But the thing I think is important about this is the concept of repressive tolerance, because of course, if this was say Ben Shapiro fans who were calling for the genocide of the Palestinians on Harvard campuses, I don't think they'd be sat in front of a committee going like, "Well, I mean, it's contextual." You know, I think that Ben Shapiro would be banned from every campus ever, like he probably is anyway. And all of his fans would have been kicked out of the universities, right? Anyone chanting that, they would have come down incredibly hard. But when it's left-wingers saying death to all Jews, suddenly there's a lot more nuance, a lot more...
There seems to be, yes.
And that is all Marcuse's repressive tolerance. He wrote this essay called Repressive Tolerance, in which he said, look, we will just simply rescind tolerance from those people we disagree with from the right. And this is literally what we're watching playing out now. And so the left gets infinite tolerance for anything they do. The right gets zero tolerance for anything they do, even though they are both the same act.
Yeah.
Imperium Press is the classics department of the future. The Western canon has been under assault for generations. Everywhere you turn, the greatest thinkers of all time are being cancelled, and the new editions of their work spend more time apologizing for them than elucidating them. Since 2018, Imperium Press has been reclaiming the canon from forces that want to erase it. Offering a wide library, Imperium Press places the greatest thinkers of all time where they belong, outside of the liberal worldview. Homer, Sophocles, Shakespeare, and Beowulf stand shoulder to shoulder with political geniuses like Filmer and Maestra, as well as cutting-edge contemporary poetry, political theory, and fiction. Imperium Press is blazing a forward-looking trail to where the towering genius of mankind is again at the center of our cultural life. Browse our catalogue at imperiumpress.org and discover the classics department of the future.
So I thought we'd begin with just the New York Times' framing on this. Harvard, MIT, and Penn say they are acting against anti-Semitism in congressional testimony.
No, they're not.
That's not what I drew from the bloody testimony. Like, that's a weird frame, isn't it? But this is what I mean. Like, there is no way if this was a right winger being called up to be defending themselves for calls for genocide against whoever.
Yeah,
that this would have been the framing.
Well, my thing. If you imagine somebody saying the same thing about all black students,
oh god,
can you imagine?
The sky would have come down.
Exactly.
The guy would have been out of his job.
Or gay students, absolutely.
But the guy would have been out of job. He probably would have had his bank account taken away.
Exactly.
Everything.
I completely agree with you. I think there are some sections of society which are you can't even discuss it. Yeah. You can't even, you're accused of transphobia or Islamophobia or whatever it is. The minute you even talk about it,
it's a phobia.
But with the Jewish issue and the anti-Semitism, it seems there are all kinds of caveats around it.
What I found weird is that obviously, having been in the music industry for so long, and the Jewish community are well represented in entertainment. Yeah, particularly in legal firms and stuff. So we work with many Jewish people.
Mel Brooks. Absolutely.
Never had an issue. Right? No. And what I find weird is, what I've noticed online is people with a legitimate concern for their safety, and particularly in London, are just mocked.
Oh, completely.
And it's like online it's very odd. There's this sort of like as if a Jewish person in London who says, actually, I don't feel safe, would lie about that.
I don't feel safe as an English person.
No.
Being a Jewish person.
Exactly.
I can only imagine how much worse that is.
Yeah, and I think it's very odd, and it's a bit. What I thought was weird reading some of the timelines is a lot of people were very sympathetic, but some of those who wanted to have a go, there was no sort of why do you think that? What's happened? It was just you're lying.
Yeah.
This is you trying to put trying to create a full sense of hostility.
Well, suddenly we don't care about lived experience.
No, exactly.
Suddenly we don't care about any of that. No. I mean, this is a statement from Claudine Gay of Harvard, which I thought was just brilliant. She says, quote, "I've sought to confront hate while preserving free expression. This is difficult work, and I know I've not always got it right." Again, if that was Ben Shapiro fans calling for the extermination of black people,
yes,
she would be like, well, I'm very concerned about free expression. It wouldn't even come up.
No,
it wouldn't even come up.
I agree.
And so look, I thought we'd watch just some of this testimony.
Yeah, this is good.
Because this is just bonkers, to be honest.
I know.
I just can't believe I'm watching this in the year of our Lord 2023.
Exactly.
Dr. Kornbluth, at MIT, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate MIT's code of conduct or rules regarding bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
They've targeted at individuals, not making public statements.
Yes or no?
Just a quick, not making public statements.
Yeah.
So if I come out onto the Harvard campus.
Yes.
I'm just like, I think all the Jews should just be genocided, by the way. That's just a broad statement. It's just a statement of my political opinion, actually. She'd be like, well, I mean, that's not targeted, so that's
So that's fine.
nonsense.
It is complete
Absolute nonsense. I'll watch a bit more.
And it is a yes or no.
It is a yes.
It's very obviously yes.
Absolutely.
I love that she's equivocating on this.
Yeah.
Calling for the genocide of Jews does not constitute bullying and harassment?
I have not heard calling for the genocide for Jews on our campus.
But you've heard chants for intifada.
I've heard chants, which can be anti-Semitic depending on the context, when calling for the elimination of the Jewish people.
So those would not be according to the MIT's code of conduct or rules?
That would be investigated as harassment if pervasive and severe.
Ms. McGill,
Right. So just casual calls for the genocide.
Yes.
As long as it's not severe.
Yes, exactly.
Come on.
It's sort of soft genocide.
It's word salad, isn't it? They're just beating around the bush.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything but
excuses.
Yeah,
it is.
It is.
Penn, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment. Yes.
I am asking specifically calling for the genocide of Jews. Does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes.
It is a context-dependent decision, Congresswoman.
It's a context-dependent decision. That's your testimony today. Calling for the genocide of Jews is depending upon the context. That is not bullying or harassment. This is the easiest question to answer yes, Ms. McGill.
So screwed. Yeah.
So is your testimony that you will not answer yes?
If it is, if the
yes
speech
or no?
If the speech becomes conduct, it can be harassment. Yes.
Conduct meaning committing the act of genocide? The speech is not harassment? This is unacceptable, Ms. McGill. I'm going to give you one more opportunity for the world to see your answer. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's code of conduct when it comes to bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
Look.
It can be harassment.
The answer.
Right.
It can be.
Oh.
She's loving.
Yeah. Oh,
What a weird,
loving it. Yeah.
What a really weird lady she is, man.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, I think it's why you see so many dysfunctional people coming out of university. And what's weird is that they think they've been educated. In fact, a lot of it's indoctrination.
Oh, totally.
My daughter's a doctor, and she went through 6 years of uni, and she was very perplexed at some of the information she was meant to be taken on board, and some of the groups and the political stuff going on. Fortunately, she's quite savvy and ballsy and kept herself to herself, you know. Yeah. But if you're not that sort of person, you could get you end up like her, don't you?
Well, the interesting thing is, as you say, she started off being very pro NHS.
Yes.
and then really pro the idea.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I watched Jeremy Corbyn the other day, who's still rattling on about being pro NHS, like it's a given.
Yeah.
And when she realised how politically skewed it was, she's just pulled away, and it's now destroyed her faith in the basic principles of the NHS.
I mean, just as a quick side, I'm pro the concept of the NHS.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
It's not the National Health Service. It is the International Health Service, and we're going to forever pay for the entire world to get healthcare at our expense.
But also, my thing also is when I said tweeted Jeremy or X'd, I don't know how you say that now. Jeremy Corbyn back, and I said, be specific. Is every procedure free at the point of need?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I remember somebody talking to me about getting HIV. That's the PrEP.
Yes.
Called, don't they? On the NHS. Well, my thing is go and buy some condoms. I don't see why the taxpayer should pay for that.
Okay. I think you can get condoms from the NHS.
Well, you probably can.
I think you can.
I think you probably can.
Yeah.
I anything like that. I think if you have an option, there are some things I agree with you that absolutely should be free at the point of use. Absolutely. But the idea that it should cover absolutely all procedures is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I'll tell a very, very quick story. Back in the day when the NHS was started, there was a little old lady who used to go into her GP and order as much cotton wool as she could get her hands on, right? Loads and loads of cotton wool. And after a while, the doctor said to her, "What? Can I ask you what's going on with the cotton wool?" She said, "I'm making teddy bears."
Smart.
But that's kind of the thinking.
Yes.
If she was having to pay for that, she wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. So we saw this framing, which I just thought was amazing, right, from the New York Times. Again, I mean, if that can be considered acting against anti-Semitism, anything can be.
Absolutely.
But you see the result on the right when there are online people and they literally say a dam burst last week on the right and a wave of grotesque anti-Semitism poured out all over the internet. It's like, okay, that's the internet.
Right.
That's not Ivy League campuses and the presidents of these Ivy League universities. But this is the framing. It's like, oh no, the right, evil anti-Semitism. The left, oh, we're doing everything we can to stop anti-Semitism. It's like, unbelievable lie.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable partisanship. This is why I refer you back to the Repressive Tolerance podcast to understand why this is happening, why it is manifesting as it's manifesting now. But anyway, I thought we'd move on because there's obviously a lot of condemnation over this. A lot of people are actually quite...
I hadn't seen that clip before.
I have. It's just...
They're both disgusting, aren't they?
Well, there are tee of them there, and they're all presidents.
Just disgusting.
And they're not just some sort of low-level administrators.
No.
These are the people at the very top.
Yeah.
But far right has become another expression, like you're a racist or you're a homophobe or you're a Islamophobe. It's just one of those, like confetti. They just throw it out.
Well, also, it's like anti-vax.
Yeah, exactly.
It's used to destroy the conversation. By name calling.
Exactly.
I've on the subject of far right, I've just been like, okay, well, what's far right? It's like thinking you should have borders, thinking people should work hard, being pro-family.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, maybe I'm far right. I mean, like if that's what being far right is, I mean,
Andrew Lawrence is worth watching.
Oh, he's great, yeah.
And he said, "You wait till the real far right turn up."
He's 100% right.
He's absolutely right. Yeah,
because we're right so Fred, we get far right so Fred.
Yeah,
and I always say,
cool,
and I say right so far so Fred.
Yeah, exactly.
And but people are just, and when they find out I've got a black wife, it really upsets me.
I bet it does.
Well, that's not far right. What far right people do,
Yeah.
It really upsets the whole thing.
Sorry,
yeah, I know.
So,
honestly, though, when you ask them for a list, what's far right, they'll tell you a bunch of things that are just really normal, common sense.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, but if that's what being far right is, then I mean, if you thought I was a Nazi, you just call me a Nazi because it's not like you're shy to say that.
No.
So you're not calling me a Nazi. What you're calling me is kind of a nativist.
Yes.
A normal nativist, common sense.
Yeah.
Maybe, okay, fine.
But during some of the pro-Palestinian marches, we've got people dressed in their Palestinian gear, and I don't know if they're Muslims or not, or they're hijacking the event. I don't know.
No.
But they're now advocating what Hitler said was right.
I saw that. Have you seen the guy?
Yeah.
We seen the guy doing the whole thing.
What?
I know.
I mean, these people.
There was a clip of the Met Police taking a guy's sign off of him because it had a swastika on it,
right?
And they were putting it to the side. It's like, sorry, if say one of Tommy's lads or something had turned up with the sign with a swastika, you'd have been arrested like that, right?
Yes, you would. Yeah.
No, not these guys. No, it looks bad optics. You'd have a sign with the swastika, so we're just going to put that to the side. You carry on marching. It's like, come on.
But sometimes I think, for me, the devil is always in the detail. Have you seen the Christmas tree?
No.
Pretty bad.
It's pretty terrible.
Oh, really?
It's really bad. And I think
Why?
that because if you had a really, I'm not a Christian at all, but I'm not of a faith. But if you had a very strong Christian mayor in London, that Christmas tree would look great. What we have is we have a Muslim. Sadiq Khan, who doesn't care about Christians or Christmas. No, so therefore, the tree bears the brunt.
It's pretty appalling.
It looks like one half has been shaved off.
I think John's going to pull it up for us because.
Let's have a look at the Christmas tree.
It looked pretty bad. My wife showed it to me.
Now that. Yeah. No, that actually it looks better than it did.
It.
That looks better now.
Yes, it
Why
does.
isn't it covered in lights?
And it looks a bit small, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it is a bit small. Yeah.
That was better when the first picture I saw. It looked pretty shabby. Maybe that's a better shot.
But that doesn't look great.
It doesn't look great, does it?
It's London's Christmas tree. I was like,
but you should.
We've probably got a better one in Swindon.
Yeah. It was last year, I think, when the first time I spotted it, and the last year's tree was infinitely worse than that.
And you don't have to be a Christian to be concerned about this. This is British tradition.
Yeah,
the capital of Britain.
Well, the whole thing. Yeah, I agree. The whole thing about Christmas. I mean, as I say, I'm not of a faith particularly, but one thing I'm becoming increasingly aware of is the lack of spirituality around Christmas.
Around anywhere.
And around,
around everything.
Yeah, I really think, stars and angels and all that stuff isn't really what we're talking about when you're talking about celebrating Christmas. It's not really it's not really the thing.
I think here's the picture of it when it arrived.
Oh, that's the one I was looking at.
Yeah, I can see what you mean, yeah.
Well, that could be storage.
Yeah, they've obviously have to puff that out a bit.
Yeah.
Transport. But still, it's not a great tree, is it?
Huge, does it, for capital city?
No.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's always been that size, hasn't it?
We need to go back in time to look at previous.
You'd have to, yeah.
Look at previous trees.
Anyway, we'll carry on here, John.
Yeah. Yes.
Have the mouse back, possibly. Right. So there were a lot of responses to
that
this weird,
genocide thing,
strange defense of calls for genocide. The Pfizer CEO, my favorite person in the world, said he was ashamed to hear it. The Pennsylvania governor said that this was unacceptable and shameful. The White House press secretary came out and was like, well, this is unacceptable. Various investors who are graduates of these universities came out, because one thing that people may not know is that, of course, very rich people who graduate from these universities tend to give them large endowments.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so it's, weird that you're going to offend all of those people by saying,
money.
It's, they're going to give you lots of money.
Yeah.
Say Mark Rowan, who's a private equity billionaire who obviously gives them money, disgusted, and hedge fund billionaire Bill Ackman has called for them to resign in disgrace.
It's good that opposition is out there.
It is. I'm pleased about that.
It's just a shame that it took this broadcast, the filming of that panel, to make it
that guy
happen.
There on Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. Any relation to Ben?
No, I think Shapiro is just a common Jewish name.
Yeah,
his mother was Helen, though.
But this gave Elon Musk the easiest win ever. Just tweet out, yes, it's actually easy to help out with this. You can just say, yes, it does. And calling for the genocide of anyone obviously constitutes harassment.
Yeah.
Not very difficult.
Nope.
I went and looked up the Harvard Student Handbook for 2024.
Yeah.
On page 50, it says discrimination based on race, color, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, religion, creed, national origin, age, ancestry, veteran status, disability, military service, or any other legally protected basis is contrary to the principles and policies of Harvard. So if calls for genocide of a race don't fall under that,
don't breach that,
then they're being very, very generous.
They haven't read the handbook, mate.
Quite possibly. I mean, it was brand new this year. So maybe they're just not up to speed.
Right.
Maybe last year's handbook was like, all of these things except calls for genocide are totally unacceptable. But finally, we did actually get a statement from Harvard University.
Right.
There are some who have confused the right to free expression with the idea that Harvard will condone calls for violence against Jewish students. So, no, they're not saying you can't call for genocide.
No.
Right? They're not saying that. Right? Let me be clear. Calls for violence or they do say calls for violence or genocide against the Jewish community or any religious or ethnic group are vile and have no place on earth. So finally,
they have to do this retrospectively because they realize what a jerk she looked on screen.
Exactly.
Everyone's come out and been like, "Hang on a second."
Yeah.
And and someone has been on the phone saying, "You need to sort this out because we've got funders pulling out
billions and billions not being given." Yeah, exactly.
Make it right.
Yeah, make it right.
Stupid woman.
Yeah.
I mean, the post below. Why didn't you say this during congressional hearings yesterday? I mean, like if ever there was a time and a place to say it, when you're being called up in front of Congress,
yeah, absolutely.
It seems like the easiest win.
Yeah.
Do you support that? No, of course we don't support that. No.
Yeah.
Why are we equivocating on this?
I suppose they try to get around it because if they said no, we don't support this, then they would then say, well, you've got students calling for Anna Furtado.
Do something about it.
And why haven't you done something about it? You want to avoid that.
Yes.
And they'll get loads of protests and stuff.
Yes.
But also the other word that came up as contextual was jihad. There's nothing contextual about jihad.
No.
Nothing.
Well,
it is what it is.
You know, that's your opinion. The opinion of Dr. Gay here.
Yes.
She's got a different opinion on jihad.
It makes you wonder what these people get up to behind closed doors and say, doesn't it?
Yeah, if they're going to smirk about defending genocide in front of Congress, imagine what they say behind closed doors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Exactly.
Very odd.
I just don't think I'd have the balls, even if I did believe it.
No.
I think you know what? I probably don't support that, actually. Good point.
If you appreciated that episode from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that is on the website, such as the premium videos, such as British Men in America, in which we just discuss America. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Twitter at lotuseaters_com on Twitter. Thank you and goodbye.